Hi, I'm Kristin Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? You guys, we are here at Are You a Charlotte with Mary Beth Barone.
This is so surreal. You have I don't even know if I could even count the number of times I've watched Sex and the City all the way through.
Well, you couldn't even count?
I think I do a rewatch once a year, and I just finished my recent rewatch maybe like 4 months ago. And then when I went back to watch the episode we're going to talk about, I almost let it keep playing. But I was like, I can't do this. I actually can't do this.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I love to hear that so much.
It's one of my favorite shows.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I do feel, as I said to you when you got here, that I feel like you and Benny are carrying the torch forward with Overcompensating and all your comedy and all your everything that you're doing. I feel like you're the next generation, like, you know, trying to make good stuff, like out there, pushing the envelope, talking about the issues. So it's so perfect that you're here to talk about boy, girl,
yes.
which we will do in a bit. But first I want to talk about you a little bit, and I want to talk about Overcompensating because I'm so excited. And when I first had Benny on, I hadn't seen the whole season.
Okay.
Because my niece had told me to have him on. She was like, have Benny Drama. I was like, I don't know who Benny Drama is. Right?
I love that.
I had to do some research to like catch up, and I was like, wow, these kids are amazing.
You know what? We had good role models with you guys because I feel like Sex and the City was so formative. And I remember where I was the first time I saw Sex and the City.
Where?
Because I was born in the 90s. So it was a little bit like, you know, mature for me as like a kid when it was airing. For sure. But then in high school, I had a sleepover at my friend Julia's house. It was like all the girls were all still friends to this day. And she had DVDs of like the 4th season or something.
Yes.
And we just dove in and I was like, holy shit. I think this show is going to change my life. And ever since then, I guess that must have been like 10 years ago. It's just been such like a mainstay constant for me, and watching the movies over and over. And then in just like that, it's just been so fun to follow the characters. But I feel like Sex and the City was such like a at the time, and obviously there are issues that we would handle differently today.
Of course.
But really presenting the mainstream with these things that were happening in New York.
Absolutely.
That maybe didn't feel so accessible at the time. So
absolutely. And I think that we thought when we started it in 98, which is, you know, bizarre to say out loud, that it would be like a little niche, you know, like we all related to it. Obviously, we were in our 30s and, you know, this was kind of our life. I mean, it wasn't exactly our life. It was like an elevated, more intense version or whatever. Yeah. But it was so exciting to do it, you know, but we never thought it would have widespread appeal.
Did you live in New York at the time or LA?
I had been back and forth. I went to Rutgers and then I graduated and lived in first I lived in Jersey City. Not exciting.
Ooh,
sorry.
Okay.
I know. I mean, you know how it was, right? And
you
then
got
I moved to Hoboken.
Any means necessary.
Right. Now you live in Williamsburg, which is very, very cool. Yeah. Hoboken at the time wasn't really cool, though it later got cool. But it was kind of like the financial bros were there. I was a waitress at that restaurant I don't know if you've ever been over there. When you would get off the PATH train, there was a restaurant right there, and they would all just come in their suits, and they were like horrible. I would cry a lot every day.
Mm-hmm. They're still like that.
Yes, it's true. I feel like they've been somewhat diluted, though. I don't know if it's my experience has changed, but like it used to seem that the entire city was that.
Yeah. Now, yes, you're right. There's much more It's much more segmented.
We've got the hipsters where you are.
Artists.
We've got the artists,
college
which
students.
we had as well. We've got the college students. I feel like the college students, and I think this is because the last season we stayed in the Village when my kids were there. I mean, the students are living the life.
They are in the lap of luxury down there.
Wow.
Yeah. I think a lot how my life would be different if I went to NYU, but I went to like an information session there because that was my top choice for a while.
Right.
I ended up going to Boston College and dropping out after 2 years. But I went to this information session and one of the admissions people was like, we just know if someone is like a fit here and we know if they're not.
Oh no.
And just that vibe really turned me off and I didn't even end up applying. I was just
you're
like,
so perfectly a fit.
But you know when you're just like, and thank you for saying that. But you know when you just hear one thing where you're like, no, I actually don't think I want to engage.
I do totally. That was how I felt about Rutgers because Rutgers, it was an acting program and they were like, no one gets in. And I was like, okay, great. That's perfect. For me.
Yeah. No, I actually tried to sign up for Drama 101 at Boston College and the teacher was like, I think the class is too full, but you can come to the first day and meet everyone. And then I did that. And then the second class I walked in and she goes, it's full. And then I had to walk out with my my head hanging low.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it was. I just think there's so many ways I could have found this, but I'm glad it happened the way that it did.
I mean, it always happens the way that it should, right?
Yeah.
But it's never easy.
No,
for no one, right?
It's been a tough. I mean, it's I feel like
stand up. I mean, stand up is to me like the hardest. Like, what made you want to do that?
I don't know. I think it's the type of mental illness that I have. It's really specific. And I started taking improv classes when I had like a full-time job and I lived with my boyfriend at the time. I had a very quiet, sort of contained life. And then once I took improv, I just decided I wanted to try stand-up. And then after that first time I did it, I was like, oh God, I think I found the thing I want to do.
Like the drug.
It was such a high and I totally blew up my whole life and then just decided to like pursue comedy. And at the beginning, you have that right level of like delusion where you're like, this could actually happen for me. And I just tried to apply all of the like type A personality that I have to this career.
Right.
And now I'm 10 years in and things are going well.
So it works out.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think that's what I love so much about you and Benny. First of all, you're super talented. But second of all, the way that you have made it, and I don't know how you guys met, which I want to know, but it's very much inspiring and exciting to me that it has worked out for you guys. Because first of all, I think you're super committed, which everyone has to be. Like when people ask me when they're young, like, what should I do? And I'm like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Like that's really the key.
Because it's a lot of banging your head against the wall.
It really
is. For
is.
years and years and years and you have no money.
100%.
And it's embarrassing and you're begging people to like support you.
Yes.
And if you don't love it, like if you don't feel like you would risk everything for it, then you really can't do it. Yes. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who've sort of stumbled into it and everything's worked out for them, but that's a lot more rare.
Very, very rare. I mean, I don't know anyone like that. I can't think right now of anyone like that. But I love you guys because you, as opposed to like our generation, like we all, I mean, Cynthia and Sarah were child actors and Kim had been acting for a long time too. But like I went to college for it. I got a BFA.
Yeah.
It did me no good. Like what kind of insanity is that? You know what I'm saying?
Studying it.
I know, right? I mean, the thing that was good about where I went is that it was very, very challenging and they cut people every semester.
What?
So yeah. Like 500 people auditioned to be a freshman. 50 of us got in.
That makes me...
5 graduated.
And you were one of the 5?
I was.
Wow.
Oh, you're not going to stop me.
That's incredible.
You know what I mean?
I would,
right?
That would be a lot for me to handle mentally.
Right. But I mean, you have handled 10 years of this business, so it's the same. What I'm saying is that the weird hardness of it was good prep, right? Because it made no sense, right? Like you'd just be like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
They cut what? And like at one point they told me I had to lose weight. This is during college, right? And I was like, oh God, good. It was actually good because the real world is like
it's much worse.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's brutal, especially when you start like working your way up a little bit and you start to hear the conversations that are happening behind the scenes.
I know.
And you see just how brutal it is. And I guess what's almost nice about social media is like all the meanest things anyone could ever say to you, you got a notification.
Totally.
It goes, hey, this person said this thing.
That's so true.
So now I'm like,
That's
whatever
so
an
true.
agent or exec could say about me, I would love for them to try to come up with something new because I would just be interested. But yeah, it definitely.
That's so true. That's so true. I had not thought about that. I mean, as much as I really, at one point when, so I'm doing the podcast, so I'm looking at more stuff and then the show ended, as you know, and just like that. And I was so confused by it. And also everyone was hating on us. And then we announced we were over and they were like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, that's really interesting. Like what's actually happening, but like there's like such a weird vibe out there. But I said to Sarah Jessica, I was like trying to figure it out. And she said, why are you reading those comments? Don't read the comments. And I said, I know.
It's hard to not.
Once you get in, I mean, for us, like we've been through it like every which way. And she's very strong about it. She doesn't. Cynthia reads everything.
Yeah.
Everyone finds their own way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cynthia feels like she learns from it, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
And she's very tough. I'm not so tough, but I am really curious.
Yeah.
I want to understand.
It is that weird thing. I mean, I think people love being mean on the internet. That's like one of the reasons why we started our podcast, just because we wanted to celebrate things and we wanted to talk about things that we loved in a genuine way.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to obviously have a podcast where you're snarky about everything and you just shit on what's being made and you insult people's work. But I think what people don't realize is like, if you are going to complain about something and say it's bad, like it might not be around anymore. So
I know. I mean, I would like people to hear Mary Beth saying that because I feel like there is this weird, I mean, I assume that it's also like the times that we're living in, right? People are so uncomfortable and we don't know what is happening at any given time, right? So it's much safer to complain about a TV show than it is to deal with the bigger issues, you know? And I get that. But if you're the people making the TV show, it's hard to be yelled at continually and told that you don't know what you're doing and that person in wherever their house is knows your character better than you, which, you know, is interesting. No, we were trying to make a different show with the same characters.
Well, that's the thing. Right. And that's how I approached it, was like, it is the same universe, but the characters obviously have changed because they're in totally different phases of their lives.
Right.
And I feel like, again, the show tried to tackle topics like, you know, you having a non-binary child. It's like, or Charlotte having a non-binary child. It's like,
I knew what you meant.
It's, I just felt like, people were always going to hold it to, I mean, they hold reboots and anything like that to such a different standard because of the nostalgia. But to me, it was like, you know, once again, same with the original, even though I wouldn't make the same choices as the characters. Like, I was watching that every single week, and every single friend that I talked to, conversations would start with, did you see And Just Like That?
Aww.
Like, it was must-see TV.
And you're 30.
I'm 34.
That's amazing. You're in the 30s.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. You're in the 30s. See, and that's part of what's weird about streaming, and I don't know how you guys feel on Overcompensating, but back in the olden days, not so much with HBO because we were our own. We were like paving the road or whatever.
Yeah.
We were new. But like you kind of knew who was watching. Streaming, you're just like, I don't know. The only people you're aware of is who's complaining.
Oh, for sure. And who's posting clips and, you know, chopping it up and all that
Do you
stuff.
feel that way about Overcompensating?
Yeah, I think it's tough when a lot of the streamers don't really tell you how many people or what or anything like that. Not that, I mean, the numbers get so big at a certain point. I'm like, I can't even conceptualize that many people, but I know how many people are reaching out and posting about it and making fan edits and stuff like that. So I feel like, it's also, for whatever reason, the criticisms always resonate, stick in your brain more than the people who love it.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Well, I also just feel that the people who love it, if they're your friends, of course, you're assuming that they are just, you know, biased. And then you don't necessarily hear from the people in the world who love it because they don't post about loving it.
Right.
Only the angry people post, it seems. I don't know. But like with Overcompensating, okay, first of all, how'd you meet Benny?
So Benny and I actually met at a stand-up show. This was in, pre-pandemic. We met. We were booked on the same show in Bushwick.
Oh my God.
At a bar called Our Wicked Lady. And it was, we always say there were more comics on the lineup than people in the audience. It was a very small show.
I love it.
And we just really liked each other's sets. And he stopped me on the way out. And we sort of had this like moment of connection. And then we were booked on another show together like a week later. And he said he needed someone for a sketch that he was doing. And I was like, absolutely. Like, you know, that was a time when it was say yes to everything. And then also if it's someone that you think is really funny, you're like, well, of course, like I'll be there. What time?
Yeah.
And then it just sort of organically grew from there. And then we had this opportunity to do our first podcast together, which was canceled. First podcast in history to ever be canceled.
Well, I've never heard of that.
It was called Obsessed.
Oh.
Which was for Spotify.
Wait, what year?
This was during the pandemic.
Okay.
So it was 2020.
Big time for podcasts.
Yeah, that was sort of the beginning of it. So then that got canceled and we decided to start our own thing called Ride.
Right.
And so, we've done a lot of different projects together and it's always so fun. And it's just nice to have someone in this industry who you genuinely feel like so happy for and so much love and like we support each other. It's so isolating.
It's so beautiful and so rare. Like when I see, because I had been obviously by myself in my career, right? Previous to Sex and the City. And then because we were together and we went through the whole experience together, you had someone to check in with about the insanity and the difficulties and the whatever was going on, right? And it's something that I'm just so grateful for because I see other actresses, because generally speaking, you're alone. You're very alone, especially as a female, right? Like, you know, you'll be on a set and they'll just be all guys.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
So few shows go for that many seasons now.
Right.
So it's like you guys really had like a family on set, which is such a gift.
And which was what was so great to get back together. You know? So great. And we did the movies in Morocco and, you know, we've had like quite the life. It's been incredible. And obviously I just want it to keep going, but you know, whatever. Right now we're just taking a little pause. That's
taking a break.
Taking a little break.
If whatever's next, I'll be there.
Thank you.
I'll be there in
so
support.
Sweet. I'm very, very, very excited for the second season. of
I can't wait.
Overcompensating.
It's so fun. We're writing it right now.
Woo!
So, yeah.
Mary Beth came to us before she's going to the writer's room.
Yes, I have a
the
full
writer's
day.
room is so exciting.
It's so fun. It's
So
such a
exciting.
crazy thing to do for work. Like we just sit there and like pitch what we think is funny. And
love it.
sometimes it's not funny. You find that out when you say it out loud.
I mean, yeah. And
But
the other
that's
thing is
important.
like sometimes it's a funny idea and then on the page it might not be funny.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about it. So you and Benny meet
Yes.
at a stand-up. And so you're both doing stand-up. And is he already doing his YouTube things?
Yes,
and
he had been
whatnot?
doing
Instagram?
sketches online
Got
and
it.
some character stuff. And so, yeah, we met at this very interesting time. It was like I think it was 2018 or 2019. But basically when I first started, there were so many like clear milestones that a comedian could hit in their career to be like, I'm on my way to what my dreams
Goal,
are,
right.
my goals. And then it felt like with the pandemic and then the strikes, like so many of these like cornerstones of comedy just sort of like went away.
Yeah.
And so it's been really interesting to see like people have to build their own career paths. And like
Yes.
Benny was such a trailblazer in that respect.
Yes.
And I think his being able to pivot to like, traditional legacy media gives a lot of people hope who started online or even, even me who
it gives me hope.
I do stand. It's just like there are ways.
There are ways.
And he's extremely talented. So it's not just like
You
anyone
both
could
are.
do it. But
No, of course. But I think that the commitment and the persevering through the different things and also just using your head, right? Because you guys are super smart and you're seeing opportunities to get in there.
Yeah.
It gives me hope. And I saw Michael Patrick and I was like, you've got to meet Benny. He's like, I've met him. He's amazing.
Oh my God. That's
and so
so
we had like a
crazy.
whole love fest. I know.
Yeah.
And it's so nice because Michael Patrick was also a stand-up. And he
I didn't know that.
Yes, he was a stand-up. Possibly not hugely successful stand-up, right, where you would know his name, but he was out there grinding, going to the clubs, doing all the things. Now, this is when he was wearing like plaid shirts. He's from Pennsylvania and he had like curly hair and like it was a whole different time,
different vibe.
Very extremely different vibe. But he worked and worked and worked at it and then started writing, I think like punch-up jokes for sitcoms and then eventually was hired on Murphy Brown and won an Emmy on Murphy Brown, which was, trailblazing in the 80s/90s, I guess. And then obviously we got him on the first season of our show, Sex and the City. Thank goodness, because, he's been the visionary, I think Darren's vision is about putting things together at the right time. He's one of those producers where he can put the pieces together really brilliantly like no one else and kind of feel the zeitgeisty type thing. So he knew Candace and he optioned her book, but then he brought Michael in because Michael knew how to write jokes.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really.
The show is so funny.
Okay,
I mean, it's surreal because you see these names on your TV as you're watching the shows. And then when you meet the people in real life, it's just like, oh my God, like I've watched you for so many hours. And I feel like the comedy of the show, I mean, I'm sure there was so much criticism of just like having these sexually empowered women on TV back when the show came out. But I think also just the comedy of it all gets overlooked sometimes where I'm like, first of all, the comedic performances are genius.
Thank you.
I think it is really difficult to like have these, and I think that's something we always try to do in Overcompensating is have these really earned heartfelt moments, but also the comedy of it all. And sometimes it is physical. Sometimes it is someone like having to swallow a bunch of fish and then going to throw it up at a Charlie XCX concert.
Which was very funny.
Which is very funny. But I think it's, you don't see as many shows that are able to do both.
Or even trying. I think it's a very hard thing to do. And that's one of the things that I did love about our show and that it's rare you kind of, in a weird way, have to earn that opportunity to even make that show, And then I think actually executing that show is so hard. And that's what I love about the first season of Overcompensating, that you start and it's really fun and it's interesting and you're like, what's going to happen? Is he going to come out? Is he, whatever. And then by the time we get to your episode, it's so deep.
Yeah.
But also so funny, but so earned. And the whole time you've been wondering, like, what's up with her?
Yeah.
At least I was.
No, that people had a very strong reaction to Grace in the first few episodes. I think because the way it was written was like you do really peel back the layers on all the characters as the season progresses. So I think people just saw like, oh, she's a bitch for no reason.
Right.
But then it was so like expertly done that once we go home and we see more of her interacting with even like the character of her boyfriend, you really start to understand like what is motivating her.
Absolutely. She's in some ways like the Charlotte.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, kind of underwritten, a very recognizable character. Right. You're like, oh, I think I know her, but why is she so uptight?
Yeah.
You're like, why is she so unhappy?
Yeah.
Like, that's interesting. That's how I felt. Right. And then I was like, I hope they're going to give her more, you know, because I just was watching by myself in the nighttime, right? When the kids were asleep. And then it was just such a wonderful payoff when you did finally get to understand and see, and also divert a bit from, you know, the campus. And that took a lot of guts, I think, to do that in your first season, to be able to write that. And then you so beautifully acted it. And it was so, you were so rooting for her, you know, and it's just so good. I can't wait to see the second season.
A lot of fun things in store. It's
that's
gonna
exciting.
I think it's going to be, I mean, Benny's so in the zone right now too. Like everything he's sending us to look at is so funny and so beautiful. And it is so personal to him. So I think everyone in the room and on the show, on set, everyone feels a lot of like care for the story.
Yes, as well you should.
And playing the characters, one thing Benny always talks about with the casting process is like playing these characters with a lot of respect for who they are, not making them these like reductive, sort of dumb college kids, which definitely. I feel like you guys also did on Sex and the City. It's like, it's so easy to put the four main characters into their little boxes, but you really feel the depth and like the complexities, especially as the show goes on, where it's like, it just feels like a lot of TV shows. And I watch so much TV too. Of course, and some TV shows, they don't need to go so deep, but like the ones that do their lane, right? I go back to those ones over and over.
I agree. Well, I mean, for us, we never thought we were in our boxes. I mean, that's the thing. As an actor, you have to think bigger and deeper. And you never, I mean, everyone else is going to do whatever they're going to do. You
right. And interpret it however.
Exactly.
I think there's also been a lot of reflection on the show in the past few years, people from different generations finding it.
Which is amazing.
And I think that's great. And everyone can take what they want from it. But I get very defensive of the characters. I'm like, I just think you don't get it. Maybe you don't get it.
I mean, sometimes people don't get it. I mean, certainly within Just Like That, people sometimes got it, sometimes didn't get it. And I think a lot of that had to do with how old they were, right? Yeah. But you're young and you got it. So you never know, right? But with the first show, and I think also, Les, you're saying perspective, you gain perspective over time. And for us, you know, in the beginning, we were like the girls show at HBO.
Sure.
You know, and we were the unserious show. We were a big hit, not originally, but like say by season 3, which is the episode we're watching. I think we'd won our first Golden Globe, I want to say, and we got nominated for an Emmy that year, which we never thought would happen. Yeah. So we got credit for a certain kind of success, but The Sopranos was like the serious show,
like prestige-y, right? Whatever, yeah.
And definitely prestige. I mean, we were prestige because we were on HBO. We could say whatever we wanted, right?
It's prestige to me.
Well, it's prestige now. That's what I was going to say. It kind of gained... I think it gained importance. I don't know if that's the right word. It gained something in time, which has been so rewarding.
Well, it also feels like, I mean, I was a kid at the time, but it was sort of around the same era as like the Spice Girls and all these female pop stars coming up. Yes. And I feel like there was this sort of, I call it Spice Girls feminism, but it's just this thing of like girl power. And I do feel like maybe it coincided with the show really finding its,
most definitely
huge audience.
Sarah Jessica, I don't know if she'll be mad at me for saying this, but she used to play that Spice Girls CD in the makeup trailer, like over and over.
I mean, it's so
over.
Good.
But
I mean, over and over and over.
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then she would leave, and then Cynthia would put on like, oh my God, Gypsy Rose Lee, who's that belting lady on Broadway, like in the 40s or 50s, like the original Gypsy Rose Lee. Thank you, Ethel Merman. Cynthia would put on Ethel Merman. Thank you, Easton.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I know. And you just be like, oh. And then sometimes if they both left, Kim and I would put on classical because we just needed to chill. You know what I mean?
Like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, we needed a little palate cleanser. It was a lot going on because we had to head out on the street, right?
I mean, filming in the bustling.
In the middle.
New York side.
In the middle.
It's insane.
Intense.
It must have been crazy.
It was crazy. In a good way. It added a lot. I think when you go onto a soundstage, I don't know, do you guys film out in the world in Toronto?
Sometimes we do. We have some in studio stuff and then some that's like on location, as they say.
That's good. Yes, location.
But I would say Sex and the City for Benny and I, they're real people to us. Like we talk about it, as if we know these people. We have a joke on our podcast that Alexander Petrovsky died of COVID because he refused to wear a mask. Don't you think he would?
Oh my God.
We wrote a fake obituary for him.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't even say that out loud because I do not want Baryshnikov to die, right? And like for me, I can't separate them. I get it. See, like for me, Petrovsky, and I have only re-seen the episode where we meet him. I can't remember why I watched that one.
God, that whole stretch is like the way they reveal that he is like kind of a nightmare.
I don't even remember.
It's gut-wrenching.
I don't even remember.
When he cancels on meeting you guys and then you go there to meet him at a studio and he's so fucking cranky.
Oh, I don't remember this.
They show up and he's like working on his light installation or whatever. And you know, Samantha's wearing an afro in the scene because she has cancer at the time.
Oh my God.
So I mean, that whole stretch is like, it's so, and that was when the show really felt more like a movie. Like the last season, because it was like I think they did 2 half seasons. We
really did 1 season and then they cut it up because they didn't want to pay us more. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love that. But it really was just like, it was stunning. And I think so many women experience that of just like, there's this guy that is, when you're alone together, it feels like just like magic.
Of course.
But then when you bring in your own life, you just see how wrong it is.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's really,
That's very interesting, Mary Beth.
Yeah.
I have like really clear memories of some things. Some things I have no memory whatsoever.
Crazy.
Because we never slept. We basically filmed all night long, every night almost, right? Till the sun came out. So like, you're just not in your right mind. And so some things are really like, for instance, the episode we're going to watch Boy, Girl, because Alanis Morissette was on. I was very excited.
Yes.
And also Sarah Jessica was very nervous about the kiss.
Yeah.
So I went down there. I was not working, but I went down there to be like moral support. But then because Alanis was there and we were trying to like keep it chill, not overreact, whatnot. I don't know how we did it, honestly, right? Because also, like, she's really young. Like, she must have been at the height of, like, the whole thing. I don't even know how she ended up on our show.
No, I'm sure it was because it was a massive hit.
I guess, but I mean, like, did we know someone who knew her? Like, how did it happen?
It's such a funny cameo because it's, like, very small.
It's so small.
But it's so, you're like, oh my God, that's Alanis Morissette.
I mean, and like baby Alanis Morissette with the little, like, I love her so much. I can't. Anyway, I went down there, but then there were so many people in that party scene that it was like kind of like overwhelming, and I didn't want to add to it. So I hung back. But Sarah Jessica was also really nervous because this is not something that she would be doing, right? And it was Alanis. It was a lot going on. So I went down there. Why did I bring this up? Don't know.
You were up all night?
I was up all night, as always. But also, like, we were in the bubble. That's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, you didn't really have other... I don't feel like I was tethered to normal life in any way during that time. Like, in the beginning, it was on and off, right? Like, when you're filming, you're in the bubble. But once we really got going, you were just in the bubble all the time.
Yeah.
You never left the bubble.
And you guys did so many episodes for most of the seasons.
Many.
And so, yeah, I would imagine some things you're like, I just don't remember that.
Some things I don't remember, and some things super vivid.
Can,
and also rewatching is so fascinating because, of course, when you're in it, you remember it one way because you remember what was happening on the set and whether you liked the actor or you didn't or whatever it was, right? And then now when you look back on it, like when I watched myself in this episode with Donovan Leitch trying to be the man in the photograph, it's just fucking fascinating, and so different than how I remembered it. It's bizarre. I mean, Charlotte is full of surprises.
She is, and I think that. I mean, I really do feel like depending on the day, I'm one of the 4. It just depends on the day.
Really? Wait, so all 4 are incorporated in this?
So.
I love it.
I really think so.
Love it.
Because I'm very type A. One thing that I think for Charlotte, what I really identify with is she's type A and she's always willing to put her heart on the line.
Yeah.
As many times as she is like, not even rejected, but as many times as things don't work out, when that next thing presents itself, she's ready to really throw herself into it.
Yeah.
And I really identify with that.
You do. That's
also,
good.
there was this one moment where I think you say like, I've been dating men for 10 years. Where is he? 15 years. Where is he? And I think about that line read all the time.
Thank you.
And I also think like Charlotte is certainly, there are moments of judgment, but I also think it's because she maybe has a less she just hasn't met as many people. And then when she meets, I think she is very open-minded, and I'm also judgmental and open-minded at the same time.
Well, that's
because I'm a Gemini, so I can be both.
Ooh,
and then you know, from Samantha's perspective, like the sexual empowerment, I think is really important.
Absolutely.
And just showing a woman that her age is not limiting her and how she dresses or what choices she's making.
Yes.
Then Carrie, of course, being a little selfish at times and being a writer. That's how I feel I am. And then Miranda being work obsessed and thinking she can do her job just as good as the man, if not better.
Of course.
So, I mean,
good.
think about having those characters on TV for me as a high school student. I'm like, I can be anything. That was really what it felt like.
I love it.
I'm sure there's critiques of it where I'm like, sure, whatever. But to me, I don't see that.
I agree.
I don't see how it limited anyone's worldview. I think if anything, I mean, of course, when I look at it just like that, obviously it's wonderful that there's a more diverse cast and we're seeing people who have very different experiences.
Right.
But for me at the time, it felt like a lot of different experiences.
And I think it was for television at the time, a much broader view of what it meant to be a woman, what it meant to be a woman in the world and your choices. And, you know, I'm thankful for that. I mean, it was nice to get to do even a broader view and just like that. And then you and I were talking briefly before we started. We said we would wait till we got here. You feel that the ending of Just Like That Carrie should find the love. You want Carrie to
That's
find
what I want,
the guy.
because I'm a hopeless romantic. And also I think having a life full of beautiful friendships, that's what I have right now and a family that I love. But of course I still want to find a partner. And I just, you had mentioned there was criticism when the first series ended about you all being paired off. And
I mean, people were big mad, Mary Beth. Big mad.
Those people are the same people that when I talk about wanting a partner, they say to me like, you don't need one. I'm like, but I want one.
Well, those are two very different things.
Yeah. And
also,
why
shouldn't you want
We've watched these characters pursue romantic love and their friendships flourish at the same time.
Right.
But I still want to see them achieve what they want.
Right. I think that might be one of the interesting points. And I'm not sure because I don't really have closure on it, as I was saying.
Yeah.
And I haven't even watched the last two because I'm just in denial. Right. And I hope someday that we will come back and do something. But I do feel for Carrie. If you look at Carrie, because obviously this whole new thing about her being selfish, this was not something that we thought about at the time or would have said at the time.
She's the main character.
Absolutely. I think the thing that we thought of at the time was that we wanted her to be complex. And that was kind of unheard of in a woman main character, right? Like as a woman main character, you're supposed to be, you know, flirty and sweet and the rom-coms of the 90s that you brought up. Exactly.
Yeah.
Make good choices. Or if you make a bad choice, then regret it and rethink it and change it. Whereas we were just ongoing storytelling in a really, you know, free way, which was great. And HBO almost said nothing. You know?
And it feels like real people because they're making mistakes.
Yes. And that's what we wanted. And it didn't make any sense to us, at least to me, like when the whole narcissist Carrie thing started, which I feel like was during COVID, or at least when I saw it.
People had way too much time. Y'all don't need to be thinking about Sex and the City that much. Let's just enjoy the show.
Hardcore.
How about you just watch it and have fun?
I find it all fascinating the way the conversation changes over time. Right. And so there was this time of like, we don't like Carrie. And I was like, well, that's bizarre and interesting. I mean, we need Carrie to go through all this to have a show.
Exactly.
You know, and movies and then another show. But I do know what you're saying in terms of like people, I'm single, you know, and people are always very like, you know, please explain yourself, which is, you know, really unfair and hard.
Like, is it rocket science? I want to have fun with someone.
Yeah, no, but that's not where I am at this point, right? So I think that's what confuses people.
Yeah.
If I had said that when I was 30, I don't feel like people would have, I don't know what people would have said.
Yeah.
Because at that point, we were trying to avoid these conversations. If
Yeah.
we could, right?
I mean, you'd be surprised. The reactions, people look at me like I have, you know, 6 heads. I'm just like, but you're married. The people I'm like the person I'm talking to. So you get it. Like, yeah, I'm not going to, you know, throw away my whole life in pursuit of romantic love. But obviously that's what I want, like as a one part of my life.
So people look at you like you're crazy because you want something or because you want to have fun?
Because I want to, at this point where I'm at is like, I would just love someone to, now I get invited to cool, fun things.
Right.
And I would love someone to bring that wants to make out with me at the end of the night. Does that sound crazy to anyone else? I'm like, I feel like that's kind of normal.
It is definitely
But
normal. It is definitely normal. This is what I think is interesting from my perspective, like the thing that went through my head, because I've definitely gone through many phases as the many times, 30 years I've been doing this. I've had times where I had somebody who would come with me, and I just want to say it can get complicated.
I know. Well, and
it doesn't
also,
always go so smoothly.
I know. It's like someone that is like a socially additive, like that
but
will
this is
have
not
a good
so
time.
easy.
I know it's hard.
Not so easy.
What I'm looking for is very specific. I think it exists, but yeah, ideally too, you're laying the foundation for something that's more long term. But
right.
I did back-to-back long distance relationships for 5.5 years.
Oh God.
So I'm okay with, feeling a lot of control over my life right now,
right.
and not having to fly internationally like every 3 weeks.
Right.
But I think, it's of course I want that.
Too.
And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And in my 20s, I had the energy for it. Now I don't so much, but
interesting. Very
I want to call out some scenes from Sex and the City. I think about at least once per day.
Oh my God.
I'm your wife and I'm sexual and I love you.
Okay, explain this. Why are you and Benny so fascinated with it?
We love prose. Okay. And it's just good writing.
It is good writing.
I'm your wife and I'm sexual and I love you. It's like just, you don't need anything else. You don't need any fluff. It's just like, it's this woman that just so badly wants to be seen. So that's like also Kyle MacLachlan, so fabulous in our show, in your show.
So great. Yes.
Such an iconic character.
Yes.
And he's so funny and so like just nice. He's just like a nice man.
Sweetie, yes.
And so we loved having him on the show. Then there's a moment where after Carrie is leaving Big's apartment and Natasha falls and they're at the hospital and she sees Big and she says, "We are over. We need a new word for over."
Yeah, that's good.
That's huge.
Really good. That's really
then there's also when Carrie talks about the pear-shaped diamond.
That's really good.
That Aiden tried to give her. And,
really good.
And Samantha's
that
like,
he doesn't get her. Yeah, yeah.
It's just such a good reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million. Also, like, you broke my heart, Carrie, that Aiden says.
Oh, that's really good.
It's closer to my heart this way when she wears the ring. There's just so many moments that are like burned in my brain.
Those are good ones.
I think we could do a whole other episode about the clothes. And I will say, being single again, I watched the show right after my breakup and I've been wearing my heels out as I'm wearing right now
very nice.
because I have all these shoes and I'm just like, the show really inspires me to just like wear the clothes that are hanging in your closet that you were so excited to buy.
Definitely.
But that wearing feels like more of like, it's going to be like an element of the evening.
Right.
Where I'm just like, okay, I'll be uncomfortable for
Do
the
it.
outfit.
Oh, Sarah Jessica would really love you.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I feel
Good
all the
job.
characters too.
For
I mean,
sure.
all the different styles that you guys wear, it's so true to the characters, but my God, you look good.
Thank you so much.
Every outfit is flattering.
Thank you. They worked hard, man. I mean, it was such a process, and Pat, very genius level, and Molly, who was with us from the beginning, who did it just like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have such an incredible time, and it's a rare situation that you get to have, like, first of all, just total freedom
and couture. I mean, it's couture.
Yes, for sure. And, back in the day, it was hardcore couture where like we felt the pressure to have the newness. And I remember there was a whole drama about Sarah Jessica wanted, I can't remember who it was, something. And it was on the runway. And so we had to send an assistant to Rome or Paris,
God,
who stood waiting for it to come off the runway, took it, got on a plane, flew back. I mean, some
that's
insanity.
Like historic,
okay,
though. That's amazing.
I know, but fully insane also.
Because it's artistry, like at every level, which I think is beautiful.
Yes. And that's the thing that people would ask me about with the show, the first show especially, and true with the second show in a slightly different way. But the first show, because there was nothing else like it, right? And like in the beginning, when we had Molly come on and talk about the costumes in the beginning, she said we had $10,000 for the whole first season. Isn't that nuts?
That just seems like fiction.
No, it's true.
That's true. Well, she did a great job.
I mean,
they did a great job with
there
what
was
they had.
this place, Century 21, down at the tip of Manhattan.
I've been there.
Yes, remember? They lived there. People used to think Molly worked there, and they would ask her, like, where are the belts? Yeah.
She probably knew.
She did. And I remember going there with them. And like, Sarah's little tiny green skirt with the ruffle in the back?
Yes.
I think it's Stella McCartney, Century 21.
Wow.
Yeah. But it took a while for us to build up our relationship with the designers to
Yeah.
get things lent to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like we, first of all, no one knew what we were doing.
Right.
Second of all, it took a while. We had to be photographed a certain amount of time. And then
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Jessica had her good relationships, and she was kind of a good example of like how to make a relationship with designers. You had to go to the shows back in the day and like kind of like pay homage and work on that relationship and return everything immediately in pristine condition.
Have respect for the garments.
Right? Respect, absolutely. And also they needed them. They needed those samples, you know? But also there was a lot of pressure about that. You know what I mean? But when I look back on it, I mean, I just felt the pressure at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, was I thin enough? That was really my major conversation in my head. You know, not fun, but that was the truth. And then also, like, were we, you know, was Charlotte, like, I was always really concerned about the character. You know what I'm trying to say?
Of course.
Which when I look back on, I'm like, yeah, it was good. You guys, this is so much fun that we are going to have a part 2. So join us later in the week on Are You a Charlotte?